Okay, so I'm going to show you how to draw some geometric shapes using a drawing board. First of all, about the drawing board. So we've got the board itself here, and then we've got the parallel motion. And the parallel motion on these boards isn't that easy to move, so the easiest way to move the board is to put your thumbs underneath the parallel motion and just with your hands move up and down, and then obviously the opposite way to move it down. So push it with your thumbs, try not to put your hands on your page, try and keep them outside on the side of the board. You can't see them, but there are two kind of bolt heads out here, two nut heads, so you can use those to move it down as well, but that's probably the easiest way to do that. So I'm going to move the parallel motion to near the bottom of the board, not quite. I'm about 50mm from the bottom of the board, and I'm going to bring on a piece of paper, A3 paper. Your exam paper will be A3, and I'm going to place it on the board, and the important thing is to line the bottom of the page. Line the bottom of the page up with the drawing board. Okay, and then we're going to get some tape. You should use masking tape. I'm going to just use a bit of sellotape, and I'm going to tape down the corners. But actually, before you tape down the corners, what you might want to do is very quickly with a pencil, a sharp pencil, is to mark off the corners. So I'm just going to mark off the corners there of the page so that I know where to put my page next time. And I'm also going to mark off the height of the tri-square here and here. So when I take the page off the board and put it back on again, I know exactly where the page should go. So I'm going to take down the top corners first, and I'm going to drop the parallel motion down. It's important to get the tape down nice and flat. Okay, just a small piece of tape to hold your page in place. Make sure your page is nice and flat and clean. And then what I'm going to do is move the parallel motion up. As I move the parallel motion up, I'm just going to lift it. Lift it slightly over the bottom corners there so it doesn't get caught, and I'm going to rest the parallel motion about 20mm, 30mm up from the bottom of the page. Plenty of space to do my drawing. Okay, for this tutorial you're going to need a pencil, you're going to need a compass, you're going to need a 30cm ruler, you're going to need a 30-60 set square, and you're also going to need a 45-90 set square. You could probably do with a sharpener and an eraser as well. So make sure you've got all of that equipment ready to hand. Okay, let's just put that equipment to one side. I'll grab it when I need it. Okay, so I'm going to start with a pencil. So what I'm going to do first of all, draw a line all the way across my page like that. Okay, now you need to press on quite lightly. I'm going to be pressing on quite hard with my pencil so that you can see the lines that I draw, but you need to make sure that you press on lightly. So there you go, there's my kind of baseline. Now what we're going to draw is a series of shapes across the page. First shape we're going to draw is we're going to draw a square. Now to set the length of the square, or the size of the square, we're going to use the ruler and we're going to use the compass, and we're going to do this quite a lot. And we're going to use the compass because it allows us to be more accurate. So I'm going to put the pencil in the compass and just tighten that. You need to make sure that the bottom of the pencil is in line with the point here of the compass. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the end of the compass on 0, and then we're going to draw a square. The size of the square is going to be 50 millimeters. So I'm going to put the end of my pencil on 50, okay, or 5, and then that's my compass set to the dimension I need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the compass, we're going to start over on the left hand side of the page. I'm going to put my compass on the page there, and you can see the proper way to hold a compass is just pinch the compass in between your thumb and your finger, and we're just going to what we call strike or scribe an arc just there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my point on that arc there, and then I'm going to scribe an arc that side, and that will give us the length of one side of our square. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 45/90 set square. Now you can keep the pencil in the compass, or you can have a second pencil to do this. I'm just going to keep the pencil in the compass, but I'm going to try not to change that distance there. I'm not going to squeeze the compass together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line up. And it doesn't matter, the length of this line doesn't matter. I need to make it longer if anything I need it. And then I'm going to put the end of my compass on this point here, and I'm going to bisect. Bisecting means that you draw an arc through a line and bisect those lines there, and then that gives me the sides of my square. And then you could either use the parallel motion on your table or your board, or you can use a ruler, and I'm just going to draw a line through those 2 points there, and there I have a square. So bear in mind that you need to press on lightly. So what I would do then, if you were in an exam, is I would actually go over the square with a darker line, just to make your drawing stand out from the construction lines. Construction lines should be light. Any line that you draw to construct your shape should be very light. So that's the square. Next we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle. Now we're going to leave the compass set at 50. I'm just going to check if I've moved it, and I haven't. That's fine. So set your compass to 50 again with the ruler. And I'm going to put my point on the line again. And again, what I'm going to do is bisect the line with some arcs. 2 arcs there, 1 there, 1 there. And I'm going to draw a square. So we're actually going to draw a circle, but we haven't got a centre for the circle. In an exam paper, you might be given the centre already. We're going to have to create our own. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to draw a square, because we all know that a circle fits perfectly inside a square. So we're going to go over that. So there's my square. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the centre. You can do it with a ruler, or you can do it with a 45/90 set square. Okay, you can see what I'm doing when I use the set square is very important that the set square rests on the parallel motion. Okay, so the set square must rest flat on the parallel motion. If it doesn't rest flat with the parallel motion, then if it's like that, there's a gap here, then that line won't be 45 degrees. If I did that, that line's not 45 degrees. So to be accurate, you need to put your set square down on the resting on the parallel motion. So I'm going to turn the set square over, and then I'm going to draw a line through that direction, and what that gives me is the centre of the circle. Now what I need to do now, the circle I'm going to draw has a diameter of 50 because it fits inside a square that's 50, so the radius, which is half the diameter, equals 25. So I'm going to set my compass to 25 millimeters, and then I'm going to put my point on the centre I've created, and then I'm going to draw a circle. Now to draw a circle, what you need to do is to pinch, just adjust that slightly, is to pinch the end of the compass between your thumb and your finger and then just kind of twist, a little bit tricky, twist the end. Swap hands if you need to. Twist the end of the compass in your fingers, kind of like in this kind of motion. Okay, but you've got to make sure that you leave the compass, you push down on the point of the compass to get the circle, and there's the circle. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to draw a triangle. Now the sides, we're going to draw a triangle with a side of 50 millimeters. So in an exam, a lot of the time, it will give you the length of one side. So in this case it's 50. So I'm going to set my compass to 50 again. What I'm going to do, put my point on the line, bisect the line with an arc. Then on that point, put my compass and bisect the line again. That gives me the length of the base of the triangle. What I'm going to do then is again put the point of my compass on where I've bisected. What I'm going to do now is strike or scribe an arc kind of above the centre of the bottom of my triangle, and by doing that in both positions, from here, from this point and from this point, what I get is the top kind of point of the triangle. With a ruler, just move that down. With a ruler I can draw that in. Or the 30-60 set square, you can actually use the 30-60 set square, and again make sure the set square is flat on the parallel motion. Is that obviously the angles in the triangle all add up to 180 degrees. So if it's an equilateral triangle, which this is, all sides are the same size, then the angles in the corners will be 60. So this being a 30-60 set square will allow us to draw that angle. So another way of drawing it would be, once you find those 2 points, is to use your 30-60 set square and draw a line, turn the set square over and draw another line, and then you get the triangle. So 2 ways of doing it, one with the compass and one with the set square. The next shape we're going to do is I'm going to do a regular hexagon. Okay, so all sides of the hexagon are the same, and the size of the hexagon is going to be, each side is 30 millimeters. So I'm given the size of the side, so 30 millimeters. So I'll set my compass to 30 millimeters, and then again what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my point of my compass on the line. I'm going to scribe an arc, bisect the line, again move that point of my compass to that point. That gives me the base of the hexagon. Now this hexagon is going to have the base resting on, or one of the sides resting on the line, the baseline here. Then I'm going to draw in another rotation. So what I'm going to do now is use my set square. Now again, because it's a hexagon, the angles of the side of a hexagon are from the base here are all at 60 degrees. Okay, so I can use the 30-60 set square. Okay, so this is for a regular hexagon. Move my set square along to that point. It's a good point to make is use your pencil. If you put your pencil on the point and move the set square to it, you should be more accurate. Again, the set square's flat on the parallel motion. See what I do? I just move it, I slide it along. Put my pencil there, move the set square to that point. Draw a line out. These lines are longer than they need to be. Then what I'm going to do is my compass, just check that it's the same settings, which is 30 millimeters, which it is. I'm going to put my compass point on there, and then I'm going to bisect that line, and then I'm going to put my compass point here. Again, I'm going to bisect that line. So 30, 30, 30. Then what I'm going to do is use the set square again. Again, this angle is going to go at 60 degrees in this direction. I'm going to turn it over again, 60 degrees. And again, I put my compass on that point and I scribe that line, bisect the line, put my compass on that point, I'll bisect the line. And then the last thing to do is to, with a ruler or the parallel motion, is to just draw a line across the top, and there I have a regular hexagon, each side being 30 millimeters. Now you can draw a hexagon in a different rotation where it's not resting on its side, it's resting on a point. So I'm going to do that now. So what I'm going to do is use a 60-30 set square again. Pick a centre point a little bit away from here, because we're going to draw some lines out from a point. So I'm going to put my set square flat against the parallel motion, and I'm just going to bisect the line there with a vertical line. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use not 60 degrees, but I'm going to use the 30 degrees of the 60-30 set square, and I'm going to draw a line out, and I'm going to flip it over, slide it along and draw another line out there, set square against the parallel motion. And then what I'm going to do now is the sides of the hexagon are 30 again, so I'm just going to, it's good to check, so I'm going to reset my compass. I might have moved it when I was using it. Set it to 30, I'm happy with that, that's accurate. Obviously the name of the game, these shapes, is to be accurate. Bisect the line here, bisect the line here, so that's 30 and that is 30. And then what I'm going to do is draw a vertical line. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides now of the hexagon. Again, compass on that point, bisect the line, compass on that point, bisect the line, and again with my 60-30 set square, this time it's 30 degrees I want, sorry, 30 degrees, and then I draw a line out from that point, draw a line out from that point, and you can see there, they should meet if I use my set square. The point at the bottom and the point at the top should be, if I was to draw a line down the centre there, in the same positions in the centre, and there you go. So there's a hexagon. Obviously it's kind of standing on a point rather than a flat side. Okay, so just recap, so we've drawn a square with a side of 50 millimeters, a circle with a diameter 50 millimeters, diameter being the distance from one side of the circumference to the other through the centre. Radius is obviously from the centre to the circumference. A triangle with a given side of 50 millimeters. Regular hexagon with a given side of 30 millimeters, and a hexagon again with a given side of 30 millimeters, just in a different rotation. So those are shapes we've drawn so far. Sometimes in an exam question it might ask you to actually draw half of a polygon. So I'm going to show you very quickly how to draw half a hexagon. So we're going to start with a vertical line this time. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, that's going to be our centre. So we're going to imagine this line we've drawn is the centre of the hexagon. Again, I'm going to draw it in this rotation where the point of the hexagon is at the bottom. 30 degrees, set my compass to 30 again. We're going to do the same side, 30. Compass on the point, the bottom point there, created. Strike a line, and then using the set square, make sure the set square is flat against parallel motion. I'll keep reminding you of that. Put your pencil on that point and push the set square to it. Draw a line up. Then we're going to scribe a line from that point that we've created there, and then I'm going to use the set square again one more time to draw a 30-degree line from that point. There we are, so put your pencil on that point and move the set square to it, and then draw a line. And then obviously what you've got this time is half of that shape. We draw a line down the centre, we've got half of that shape. Okay, so we've got a nice row of shapes there: square, circle, triangle, hexagon with a side on its side, flat on its side there, and a hexagon on its point, and half a hexagon. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to move up my parallel motion. You can see how I'm doing that. I'm just grabbing on to the board. Okay, they're a little bit stiff, and then I'm going to draw a line, a new baseline all the way across. In an exam, more than likely it will give you the baseline, or it will give you a centre. You might have to start with the centre of a shape. We're going to draw an octagon now. So just on the left hand side of the page up here, we're going to draw an octagon. Again with a given side. This time the given side is 30 millimeters. So get our ruler, point on 0, and then push your compass down to 30 millimeters. There we are. So it might need to adjust that. It's a bit tricky. Okay, and what we're going to do is start a little bit kind of over from the page, because part of our shape was going to go off to the left there. So I'm going to put my point on the line, bisect the line, and then go back to that point and then bisect the line again. It gives us the length of one of the sides. Now an octagon has sides which are at 45 degrees, so luckily we've got a 45/90 set square. Put your pencil on that point, move your set square across, draw out a line, flip the set square over, put your pencil on that point there, and then draw out a line there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my compass on that point there, scribe a line. It should be 30 if you need to check if you've squashed or stretched your compass out. You need to check that. Set it back on, and then what we're going to do from that point there is draw a line up. What we're looking for is an 8-sided shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8 is an octagon. Again, using the compass on that point, bisect the line, compass on that point, there, bisect the line. Again, set square on that point, pencil that point, and push the set square to it. Flip it over, set square, pencil set square, and then the last thing to do again is to bisect that line, and then the last thing to do with the ruler or the parallel motion is to draw on that line, and there you should have an octagon. Okay, now I'm going to draw an octagon. This time the octagon is going to have what we call an AF, which is a cross face. So the AF is going to be 60 millimeters. So AF stands for across face. So basically the distance from one side of the octagon to the other. In this case, on the octagon we just drew, the AF is 70 millimeters, or about 70 millimeters. Each side is 30. So to do an AF octagon, what we're going to do is we're going to set our compass to 60, the AF measurement. So point on 0, pencil on 60 millimeters. What I'm going to do is put it on the line and scribe 2 arcs, bisect the line 2 arcs. That will give us the base of a square, so we're going to draw a square. Next thing I'm going to do is use my 45/90 set square. From the 2 points I've created, I'm going to draw 2 vertical lines. Remember, set square on the parallel motion, and then up those lines I'm going to bisect those lines like so. And with my ruler I'm going to draw across those 2 points like so, and then we've got the square. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to find the centre. So using a 45/90 set square, I'm going to draw a diagonal line across from corner to corner. You could use a ruler, but nice to use the set square. And then I find the centre. And then because the cross face measurement, so the distance basically across the face of the shape, the front of the shape is 60. What I'm going to do is draw a circle. So I'm going to set the compass to 30. Set the compass to 30. 30. There. Okay. And hopefully when I put my compass in the centre, just check, yes, the pencil should, when I draw a circle. Okay, so remember thumb and finger when you're drawing a circle. Twist, change hands if you need to. There we go, there's a nice circle. What the circle is going to give me is where to put the sides of the octagon. So I'm going to get the set 45/90 set square on the parallel motion, draw lines across there, basically where the circle touches diagonal line, then we draw lines at 45 degrees, and there we go, there we've got an octagon. Now you might want to draw it in, especially in the exam. What you need to do is have a definite difference between the lines, your construction lines, so in this case the circle. Try and be accurate, I need to move the parallel motion down a little bit to get the ruler in. So the construction lines, which is the circle, and the diagonal lines to give me the centre, they're construction lines, they're not part of the shape. So what I'm going to do is go over that with the pencil, make it darker. So make it as dark as you can to differentiate between the actual shape and the construction lines. I'm pressing on quite hard so you can see. So there we go. Sometimes in the exam as well, it will ask you to do half an octagon, so we're going to do half an octagon now. So what I'm going to do is start with a vertical line. We're going to use the same measurement. The AF is going to be 60, so if we draw half the octagon, we're going to draw basically a rectangle that's 30. So I'm going to set my compass to 30. Which it already is, because I haven't moved it. I'm going to put my compass at that point. Okay, bisect the line. Then I'm going to draw a vertical line from that point, and then the cross face is 60. So I'm going to set my compass back to 60. Tricky, so make sure it's on 0. Make sure it's on 60, there we go. And then I'm going to put my compass there and bisect the line. Compass there, bisect the line. And then we're going to draw a line across there. That gives us half the square. And then what I need to do is find the centre here. So what I'm going to do is set my compass back to 30. You could use that line, or it's probably best off to go back to using the ruler just to be accurate. 30. And then I basically want to find a half of that line, halfway point. And then using that point there, put my compass on there, leave the compass at 30 millimeters, and then basically draw in a semicircle. So it's not quite accurate. There we go, that's better. So basically drawing a semicircle, and then you use the semicircle, the edge of the circumference of the semicircle, to draw in those lines. So you're basically doing the same thing again, but you're only doing half of the shape. Again, go over those lines, make them darker, make them stand out so we can actually see the shape that you've drawn. Okay, there you go. So that's half an octagon.